Let's go further into the rules. Yes, that's right. It's got to do with the strength of planets. Let's assume, the idea is this. Let's assume that you determine that you've got middle life. And then you're seeing real severe afflictions to all, especially to the factors that cause middle life. Remember, there's going to be certain planets involved in those three pairs. Two of the pairs are going to be the deciding factors. You see? Or Saturn and the Moon can be the deciding factor. If there's a lot of affliction to those planets that are given that, and there's a lot of affliction to the Lagna and the Lagna Lord, that's not going to be good. That means there's going to be some reduction from that compartment that you've determined. You see what I'm saying? On the other hand, if you're promised middle life and there's lots of benefic influence protecting you, you may get the upper end of the Kaksha, the upper range of that middle life compartment, which is 72 years. You may get the maximum of that middle life section from 36 to 72 years. See, 36 to 72 is the long range. 72 to 108 is the long range. And the best tool that I have seen for working within that range is Shula Dasha. Do you get the idea? So you make your judgments. You see the Shula Dasha coming up. There's going to be 4 Shula Dashas because each Shula Dasha is 9 years. It's a fixed Dasha. There's going to be 4 Shula Dashas within each compartment of 36 years. And there are certain rules for making judgments with Shula Dasha. And that to me is the best way to do longevity studies. You apply all these rules. You make a judgment. Like everything with astrology, the more you apply it, the better your judgment and the more refined your judgment is going to become. You're going to see cases where you made mistakes. And, you know, if you're like the rest of us, you're going to walk around scratching your head for a year, trying to figure out this chart. And I'm saying don't move away from the chart where you're stuck. Stay with it. The Devas are going to talk to you one day. And you'll talk to your friends. And you'll find an answer.
So just for example, like if somebody has debilitated Saturn in the first house, are you going to take off 9 years or are you going to take off one whole compartment? Like reduce it from long to medium or medium to short?
That can reduce the whole compartment.
The whole compartment.
Yeah.
An afflicted Saturn and the Lagna.
Yeah. Well, certainly by Kaksha. It depends. Yeah. It's going to definitely give a reduction.
How many years is one Kaksha?
There's 3 of them in 36.
For 12 years.
12 years.
That's one thing the reading that I've done, I haven't been able to find any place that kind of specifies exactly how much time will be taken off for different kinds of.
It's a judgment.
Yeah.
And Shula Dasha really helps. So let's just go on and we see some examples. So Saturn is Yama. He's the god of death. And he's known as Ayush Karaka. A decrease in longevity occurs if Saturn conjoins or aspects the planets contributing the longevity determination. So the idea is that there's going to be 2 pairs that are going to be used to decide the longevity department. So if Saturn is afflicting those planets, it's going to cause a reduction. This is what it's saying. However, this will not happen if Saturn is one of the planets himself. For example, if Saturn and the Moon determine the longevity, an automatic reduction does not occur just because Saturn is involved. If Saturn is in his own sign or his exaltation sign, the reduction will not occur. If Saturn is weak and afflicted, Saturn will adversely affect the longevity. It's a decision process. An increase in longevity is caused by the strong position of a non-afflicted Jupiter in the ascendant or the 7th house, or trines. A strong moon or Venus joining or aspecting the Lagna or the Paka Lagna causes Kaksha Vriddhi to occur. Now, you have to remember something. Moon, Venus, and Mars give rise to something called Rudra Yoga. Rudra Yoga. And so we have to take that into account, and especially when you're using Shula Dasha, that can be a real problem. If the Lagna or the 7th house is subject to Papakartra Yoga, has malefics and trines, Kaksha Rasha occurs. Benefics and trines or Shubhakartra Yoga cause Kaksha Vriddhi. The same should be seen from the Atmakaraka. So the Lagna Lord in a malefic sign, debilitated or afflicted by malefic, causes Rasha. While in beneficial signs, exalted with benefics causes Rashi Vriddhi. Okay, so let's look at a case here. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to, using the method of 3 pairs, I want you to calculate the longevity compartment for this case, Sandra Levy. Everybody's heard about Sandra Levy?
Chandra.
Chandra. Oh, it's Chandra, that's right.
It's funny that her name is Chandra and she's got moon with Mars in the 8th house.
Yes. Moon is extremely afflicted.
Lord.
So I want everybody to take their pen and paper and just, because you need practice at this. Practice is the issue.
Okay, the first one is
The Lagna Lord and the 8th Lord.
But it's 8 for Cancer, the 8th Lord is, well, we have to know if it's, let's see, it's even-footed, so it's anti-zodiacal, and it's cardinal, so it's 8th. Anti-zodiacal, so
That's for the Lord. That's for the method of the 3 lords.
that's what we're doing.
Yeah, but you have to calculate to make sure that you know what the 8th house is.
But that's for the 3 lords, not the 3 pairs, right?
No,
No,
3
the 8th
pairs.
Lord would be Sagittarius.
You're going to do the 3 pairs here now.
Yeah,
All right, so we don't need that special method for that.
Yes, you do.
yes, we do. So it would be Sagittarius, because even-footed means it's anti-zodiacal, and cardinal means it's in the 8th. So 8th anti-zodiacal is Sagittarius, right? So
Yeah.
it's Jupiter. So we're doing Jupiter and Moon.
You've got Moon and Saturn. And you got Lagna and Hora Lagna.
Well, if you take Ascendant Lord and 8th Lord, you also have Moon and Saturn.
Oh, sorry, yes, you're right about,
We have Moon and Jupiter.
yeah.
We have Moon and Jupiter.
The first pair. Now, remember, the first step, you've got to determine the 8th house. You've got to check up that table, and you've got to look at the 8th house. So the 8th house from Cancer, according to the table, is Sagittarius. Cancer is an even-footed sign, and it's cardinal, so you count in an anti-zodiacal direction. So the first pair is the Lagna Lord and the 8th Lord. Therefore, what planets are going to be involved in the first pair?
Lagna Lord is in first.
What? Which 2 planets?
Moon and Jupiter.
Moon and Jupiter, right. Okay. And what did you get?
Short and fixed. Short life.
Fixed and fixed, short life. Okay, very good. Now you've got Moon and Saturn.
Sagittarius is not fixed, so why is that?
The Lord of Sagittarius, Jupiter.
The Lagna Lord and the 8th Lord.
short and long equals medium.
Fixed and cardinal. Second pair is Moon and Saturn.
Saturn's cardinal, Moon is fixed, so you have fixed and cardinal.
Yeah,
What is that?
Is medium,
medium.
but it's the one that it's not.
So the Lagna and the Hora Lagna.
Short and short and short.
No, because it's the Lagna, it's not the
No, it's the Lagna and the Hora Lagna.
It's the Lagna, so it's long
Medium.
and
fixed
Lord,
on cardinal
fixed.
again.
Yeah, it's fixed in cardinal again.
Medium.
So it's medium life. Now you're experts.
Two mediums will dominate, and so it should be medium life.
But
36 to 72.
But where's the Ahamkaraka? No, we have still a lot of
Saturn's
things
in
to
the
do.
lugna.
Okay, so the issue here is where is, so let's look at, calculate Rudra.
Rudra is the stronger between the second and
Between the third house and the eighth.
So Rudra is the stronger of the second and the eighth. Right? And what are the two planets involved?
Oh, sorry. Lords. You're doing lords.
Moon and,
Can you see the chart? You said the second.
no, the second and the eighth, the Sun
Oh, the Saturn.
and Saturn,
Sun or Saturn, whichever is stronger,
whichever is stronger.
according to those rules.
And very simply, the Sun is with more planets. Oh, sorry.
So for
I
this,
forgot.
we'll use that fourth strength where we try to find out which is stronger to do that.
That's what it is. The sun.
And you want to find out whether where it is in relation to the lagna. It's in a quadrant. It's in a quadrant in relation to the lagna. So quadrant gives long life. At this stage, you don't buy into any of the numbers you're getting or anything. You're evaluating. Don't get, because what's going to happen, you're going to get thrown off. You're going to get disappointed in yourself. You're already saying this is not working out because the sun is given long life. Well, let's continue.
Why are we saying that, I'm sorry. if you
Because
lost
the
the
sun
stuff
is- the
here.
sun is
First
with more
you said we were
planets.
calculating Rudra, and
Ye-
did we calculate Rudra already?
Yeah, the stronger between, because it's the eighth lord. The stronger between the second and the eighth house.
The eighth house is stronger because it has more planets, simply.
Lord.
Oh, the Lord.
Yeah.
Second is
Sun or Saturn. So sun is with more planets.
Yes.
So we take that as Rudra.
Now, we took Aquarius here as the eighth house. Should we have taken Sagittarius? Did we calculate?
In the calculation of Rudra, you don't use the table.
There's no way. See, sometimes you use it and sometimes you don't.
Yes.
This is why it'll drive you crazy.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's why you have to
especially-
just go
Actually,
step by
once you have
step.
it kind of
If you're
memorized,
dyslexic,
it
you can't
goes
learn
the
it.
whole thing.
It's very straightforward once you go through it a few times. If you dismiss it out of hand and you say, I'm not interested in that kind of astrology, then
Yeah,
No
but
doubt.
It makes me feel like you changed the rules to fit the cases. It really does.
oh no.
You use it
Oh
when you
no,
want to,
no.
you
That,
use it when you don't.
that's bogus astrology.
It's in the book right over there. I've gone through, you just go right through the
I've
sutras.
tried.
Yeah.
And it's all right
You
there
go
very
through that's
clearly.
I
bogus.
had the same feeling when I read that, so. I mean,
No, the rules are very clear.
But why do
How
we
you gonna-
even, we've done our three pairs, but, then what does Rudra have to do with the method of the three pairs?
The placement of the eighth lord. It's the second method. The first method is the method of the three pairs. The next method is the method of the eighth lord placement. And the third method is the three lords.
But why don't we just stick with the first method? You're only
Because
supposed to
I
use one
feel
at a
that you
time.
get a lot of insight into the chart when you examine these planets.
When you do all three methods?
That's right. You get a lot. Now let me tell you.
He says in MJUS that not to do all three because
I know he does. I know he does. But if you just do that, you're not going to get the experience of going through this step. I have found this to be really vital. And in this chart, you're going to see why it's so vital. Let's move on. Let's move on to the three lords, and you're going to see why.
So,
You're going to see the kind of information it gives you to make decisions, because I think that one of the reasons, Sanjay is great. Sanjay knows this stuff. He's been doing it since he was 2 years old. You see? So Sanjay is going to say, you don't need those other methods. But I'm giving you my experience. My experience is, in doing this over the years, is that if I ignore these other methods, I'm ignoring a process that goes on in my mind to evaluate the other planets in the chart. Now, so we've found out who Rudra, we've found out which one is the stronger Rudra. Who is the other Rudra in this chart? Saturn. Okay, how weak is he? Very weak. He's in what kind of a house? That's right.
But also
What kind of a sign is he in? Enemy sign. What kind of yogas are connected with them?
Sarpa.
That's right. Now, if you go through this process, now in the back of your mind you're saying, okay, the calculation tells me this sun is Rudra, but look at that Saturn. Is the sun, which is more likely to kill you? The sun or Saturn? The sun gives life. Not as many as Saturn.
The other
And this is why I'm encouraging you to go through this process, because even though the sun calculates as Rudra, Saturn is said to be the weaker Rudra.
Eclipse by K, they're both.
Okay, let's go on to the method of your points are great, but we haven't, remember, we're not getting to a place. The kind of thinking you're going through is wonderful, because this is the kind of thinking you have to do. This is the kind of thinking that helps you to come up with a conclusion at the end. Don't make a decision yet. You haven't collected enough information.